I'm Phillip Clark, and apart from 2 years, I've always lived in Hexham, and I'm now 80, so I've lived in Hexham for quite some time. I was fortunate enough to, in 1995, to be elected to Hexham Town Council, and from there I was elected mayor in the year 1998 to 99. I worked on the railway as relief signalman for 34 years and I was appointed by Hexham Town Council, I think it was 2010, as an honorary steward and bailiff of Hexham. I've always lived near the main road, and the A69 used to go right through Hexham, up Battle Hill and along Hencoats, and I lived just off Hencoats. And when I was 5, 6, 7, you could have virtually played marbles in the middle of the A69 without fear of being knocked down. I remember standing on a 5-barred gate at the corner of what is now Priestlands Lane, watching them hand dig the first trenches for the Priestlands estate. So that would probably be about 1946 time, just after the war. I went to school in Hexham until I was 12. Then I went to school in Newcastle. I went to St Mary's in Hexham and then St Cuthbert's in Newcastle. I wasn't academically very bright, but I did get through the 5 years, and I had various jobs until I eventually found myself on the railway. I think it was 71 or 72 when I first joined. I worked anywhere from Bladen to a place called Corby Gates, which was just a few miles short of Carlisle. I did work Hexham signal box, of course. We used to have to work what was called the yard. Took a lot of us. Although it was a very serious job and a very responsible job, we did have a lot of fun at the same time, but we were very careful in what we did. And we had an awful lot more traffic, certainly a lot more goods traffic in those days. On a market day, the market was full of stalls, not like unfortunately today, and you virtually had to push your way through the crowds because there was an awful lot of people used to go. And I remember going to the country dance scene. It used to be in the community centre, but those days the community centre was down, I suppose, around about where Aldi is, and it was all wooden huts. And we used to go country dancing in there on a Saturday night. Although the population was quite a bit smaller than it is today, it was quite a busy town. There was people shopping. There was a lot more shops, of course, a lot more varied shops. There was a lot because there was the Meadow Dairy, the Maypole, Home Colonial, Thompson's Red Stamp Stores, the Co-op, and then of course Rob's had a little general grocery shop. And we counted up, and I think at one time there was over a dozen general shops in the West End of Hexham. If I remember right, when I was about 15, 16, there was 20 pubs in Hexham, and I think 4 clubs. The pubs were very busy. They weren't as sort of fancy as they are now. I can't remember any of them serving food, although the Beaumont, at the time, it was called the Abbey Hotel. It didn't actually have a license then, and if you wanted a drink, you had to buy a sandwich, so it was classed as having a meal. I would say Hexham is big enough to have almost all the amenities, but it's small enough still to be countrified. It's a very friendly town. In fact, we've been voted the happiest town in Britain 2 years out of 3. I think there's an awful lot more commuters. It's starting to be a commuter town. I think some of them, they work in Newcastle, they play in Newcastle, they shop in Newcastle, and they just come home to Hexham to sleep. I'm pleased there's money coming into the town. Some of the ideas are extremely good, to try and revamp the marketplace. I mean, really they've tried since the beginning of this century to try and stop the parking of the cars in the marketplace would be absolutely wonderful. But then you would have fewer people going to the shops, and some of the town centre shops would close, which, you know, would be a bad thing. So if the council and the traders can get together to get a scheme, I think that would be marvellous. There's plenty to see. We have the Abbey, we have the Moot Hall, the old jail, but then again, not far away is the Roman Wall. There's plenty of good places to eat, both in Hexham and just outside of Hexham. I think we're very lucky to have the Abbey, and it does attract people. It's been there for over 1,300 years, so it's one of the oldest abbeys in the country. And there's things in the Abbey. I mean, there's not just the Abbey, there's things inside the Abbey to see. I mean, there's the throne where the kings of Northumbria were crowned. You can see the lead in the midnight stairs, which when the Scots burnt it down, I think more than once, and the lead ran off the roof onto the stairs. So it's a wonderful place to have, and it's our gem really. So I think you could have a good holiday here.